Most home labs ignore the foundations. They ignore the firewall entirely, and that's a huge mistake because pfSense isn't about flashy attacks. It's about getting your foundation right. In this video, nothing gets exploited, and we're not breaking anything, but we are installing pfSense in VirtualBox to do some baseline configuration to get it up, working, and ready. In just 13 minutes, you'll have a functioning firewall, clean networking, and a starting point you can actually build on. This is step one in the path to real network security. Okay, to get started, you can see that I did a basic Google search for pfSense ISO, and pretty much the very first thing that pops up, at least on my screen, is download pfSense Community Edition. That's the one we want. We're going to click on that. You'll notice that it hits me right over to the download button. Don't worry, if you don't find it, you can just go to products and find it there. I'm going to hit download button. Over here, we have to tell it what image we want. I'm going to pick the ISO because I want it on a virtual machine, so that's the one I'm going to pick. And then I just add it to cart just like that. It's going to take it a second. We're going to go ahead and go to enter cart. Now, once you hit that checkout button, you're going to have to sign in with a username and password as well as your email. They won't let you download it right away. Your email will then contain a link that you can press on. And once you press on that link, it'll pop up with a page like this. You're going to hit download now, and that will start you on your first step of your journey to getting pfSense uploaded onto your system. When you first download it, it's probably going to look like one of these two. You're not going to have both, okay? One is going to be a iso.gz, and it's going to look like a folder icon if you're on Windows, and that is wrong, okay? If you've got that, then you're missing the right software. Let's go ahead and delete that. I don't need that. That was just for experiments. All right, so this is the one that you want right here, and if you right-click on it, you may see extract all right there. That's the wrong one. We want to use WinZip or another decompressed folder. If you're on Mac or a Linux, it gets a lot easier, right? But we're just going to unzip the NetGate installer. I'm going to do it to the current folder right there. This is going to provide me with the ISO. Now you'll notice that I've got this ISO ready to go. That's what I want. I'm going to rename mine because I'll never remember that pfSense is NetGate. So now I've got that pfSense, and I am actually going to take that and move it over to my VirtualBox folder. Now, because I probably have an addiction with pfSense, you can see how many times I've downloaded it. That is the newest one and the greatest. And if you got more than one copy, make sure you grab this one. You notice that I download it probably once a year. And now we're ready to actually put it into VirtualBox. So let's start right here with our VirtualBox foundation. We're going to hit that new. Let me drag this over here, and we're just going to name it. I'm going to name mine pfSense version 2 because I already got a pfSense with an older version. I'm going to scroll down. You can see that it's going right there to my VirtualBox VMs. That's exactly where I don't want it. I don't like things in my C folder. So I'm going to scroll down and put it where I want it. In my case, it is going to be in my virtual machines folder, and I'm just going to collect it right there. I need to select the ISO. I'm going to hit other. And then, of course, I have to find it. There's my pfSense ISO right there. I'm going to go ahead and open that, and you'll notice that it starts to understand what's going on. Now, right off the bat, it's saying operating system is other. That is incorrect. We want BSD, we want free BSD, and we want 64-bit. We do not want to proceed with an unintended evaluation. I'm going to hit finish. And then you'll notice that it populates right underneath my other pfSense. However, we're not done yet. I'm going to go into settings. I can right click and hit settings, or I can hit that button at the top. I'm going to hit settings over there. You notice that it's in there. It's ready to go. I'm going to go to features. I'm going to keep this disabled. Normally, I put this as bidirectional, but for pfSense, I am not. And then I'm just going to name it with direction or description. Usually, this is where I would put my username and passwords. It's a great place to put it. I'm going to go to system, and you can see that it's got our RAM right at the base memory. 1 gig is okay. Because I've got so much, I like to do 2. It makes it flow a little bit easier than what it should. For processors, if I scroll down, if I scroll up a little bit, and you'll notice it's set at 1. I want to do at least 2 for pfSense. All right, everything else is going to stay the same. We're going to struggle all the way down to network. Now, this is the important part, okay, ladies and gentlemen? If you don't want to redo your install every single time, my suggestion is to calculate how many adapters you actually have. You need to have a minimum of 2 for your firewall to actually do anything worthwhile. So I'm going to put my other one. I had NAT. Now I'm going to do internal network right there. Actually, I think I'm going to do host only. I'm also going to do adapter number 3. I'm going to click that one, and you'll notice that's host only as well. But I've only got VirtualBox Ethernet 2. I'm going to put that on 1. I'm going to put it on 2. And then adapter number 4, I can pick something else. I'm going to check iNet internal or internal network right there. And I'm going to press OK. Now, you may be wondering exactly where to get additional network interfaces. So let's do that real quick. At the very top, under File, you'll go to Tools and then Network right there. And you'll notice that I've got Create, Remove, and Properties. That's where I got my number 2. If I wanted to do a number 3, I just hit Create again. It's going to go through, give me that little warning right there, and then go to town. And then from there, it's going to create it. At the very bottom, we've got our adapter. I can configure the adapter automatically, which I love. I'm going to click on that one. You need to apply it on the bottom right-hand side. You can't see it on my screen, but there's an apply button. You're going to do that, and it's going to apply it. And then you have to decide if you want to do a DHCP or not. I'm going to enable DHCP, and I'm going to, again, go ahead and press that apply button. Now let's get back over to our machines. Go back to pfSense. Right here, I'm going to right-click, go back to settings again. And now we are done with our network settings. Now we're going to do storage. I just want to make sure that the pfSense ISO is right there. If it's not, we would just click on it. We'll hit the little CD-ROM right there, and then we just have to choose it from file or disk, and we can click it right there if we forgot it, all right? I like to do a little bit of a cleaner network than normal, so I'm going to go to USB, and I'm just going to disable it. I just don't like the USB. Call me old-fashioned, I just don't like it. We are ready to go, though. I'm going to press OK, get that sucker going, and then press Start. Now, once this screen pops up, it gets real simple. We're just going to hit Enter. We have to install pfSense. It's going to say set the network up. We're going to set OK. And we have to identify our WAN. Our WAN is almost always going to be on EM0. If you don't know, if you're not sure, just hit EM0 and hit OK. From there, it's going to say adjust interface. We're going to proceed with the installation. And then it's going to ask us where our LAN interface is. And again, it should almost always be EM1. If you're unsure, just go with EM1. And then from there, we're going to hit continue, proceed with installation. And then we've got our aspect of saying, hey, does this look right? Yes, it does. We're going to hit continue. And now it's going to start verifying the internet connection as it goes through. This is going to take a few minutes, but you don't have to wait for this. We're just going to skip through. Now, once you get to this screen, again, we're just going to hit yes to install Community Edition and then proceed with the installation. We are going to do Stripe, no redundancy. Don't pick anything else, even if you have options. And again, we're just going to hit OK. And it says last chance, and we are just going to hit yes. And now this should take about anywhere from 4 to 5 minutes to go through. Okay, once you get to the screen, we're just going to hit done. And then it says to reboot. We're going to go ahead and reboot as it's going through. Do not do anything stupid like start to go through it. This is going to go through those screens very, very quickly. And again, we're waiting another probably 3 or 4 minutes to get this done. Well, that only took about a minute on my machine. We're going to hit accept. And you may get to this screen again. If you do, stop. Stop. Don't do anything. Don't click anything. Don't do it. Okay, this is where a lot of people make a mistake. You're going to end up reinstalling it all from scratch. We're going to hit the top right-hand little X button right there. Click it. Click it. Power the machine off completely. Stop right there. All right. Okay, we are where we're supposed to be. We're going to hit 1. And this is going to assign the interface. And it's going to say, should we assign VLANs? We are not going to do VLANs. I'm going to hit no. And then it's going to ask me, which one do we want to do for the WAN? We're going to do EM0. Then it's going to ask for the LAN interface. We're going to type in EM1. That's going to be our LAN. And then it's going to say enter the optional. We're going to do EM2 for optional. And then it's going to ask us for the optional 2, and we're going to do EM3. That is the baseline of what you should be doing for all your connections, especially if you're on VirtualBox. All right, so now do we want to proceed? Yes, we do. We're going to press yes. Okay, once it's all set up, it's going to get back to this little screen, and this is where, again, it gets a little bit confusing. We're going to press option 2 to set interface IP addresses. Then we're going to select the WAN. That's option number 1. And then it's going to say, hey, configure IPv4 WAN addresses. And your intuitive is to say yes, but actually it's no. I know, it's weird. Hit no. And then it's going to say enter the new IPv4 addresses for this. Now, for my WAN, I'm going to do 10.0.0.1. That is the gateway address for my WAN. It's going to say, hey, which one do I want to do? 24, 16, or 8? I want to do 24. And then it says press enter for LAN. That's what we're going to do on virtual. And then it says, do we want to do the ICMP, or I should say DHCP version 6? And now we're going to hit yes. I know, counterintuitive. That's going to bypass it, and then it's going to say, hey, do we want to enable DHCP server on WAN? Yes, we do. I know that yes and no. It's a little bit ass backwards. All right, now it's going to ask me for the starting address 100, and that's going to be my start for DHCP. I'm going to do 10.0.0.200 as my ending. That gives me 100 IP addresses for my DHCP. I'm going to hit enter. It says, do we want to revert to HTTP as the web configure protocol? Yes, I do. And then it's going to go through and start saving all those changes for my WAN. Once it's done, it's going to say hit enter to continue. We're going to hit continue. And then we're going to hit option 2. Again, we have to do this for every single one of them. Do not repeat yourself. You will be in trouble. Let's hit option 2 this time for LAN. And it's going to say the same thing. Do we want to configure? No, we don't. I'm going to do 192.168. And this is where it gets confusing. I recommend you don't do 5.6 and you don't do 1 because these are normal. So I'm actually going to do .100 and then .1. Okay. And then it asks me for the same subnet. I'm going to do a 24. And then it's going to say, hey, is this a WAN, a LAN, whatever? We're going to hit enter for LAN. It's going to ask me if I want to do IPv6. Again, I'm going to hit yes, even though I don't want to. And then it's going to say, do I want to enable DHCP? Yes, I do. And then from there, I can go, okay, I want to do 192.168.100. And then I'm going to put 100 as my start range for DHCP. And then my end range is going to be .200. Just like that. And then it's going to save while it's going through. Now, you're going to repeat that process for number 3 and number 4, but I don't feel like we need to go through there. Now, at this point, everything is set up. You're good to go. DHCP set. So you just need to align your network adapters to the new settings with your pfSense. Make sure that when you're booting up that your pfSense boots up first and completely. You should get all the way to the screen and then boot up your new machines. And it should align directly with your new pfSense handling the DHCP. And you can go to town with that. All right, we'll see you next time. Have a good one.